Hello and welcome back to another episode of Roots and Wings Unscripted.
We're going to be talking about our writing process, how we think of songs, how it all comes about, and just the problems and things we come through, and also things that might have happened in the process. So good things
Bad
that always
things.
come from it.
Plenty
and
of bad things. I can think of more bad things than good things, to be honest with you.
Anyway,
Mostly from you, but
so apart from that, it usually starts with Al, because obviously he starts with the vocals and the guitar. So you take it away, mate. How do we usually start it?
well, I just play a song, innit?
That's brilliant.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, that's it. That's cheers. It's a quick one today.
I mean, for me, in general, it always started from just the idea of... I always resonated to songs and to melodies more than I did to lyrics. Like, lyrics to me, obviously, it's something that comes after, but I always resonate to the melody and the music more than I do to the lyrics. You know, some lyrics might be insane and amazing and emotional and whatever, but if they're not tied to the right melodic component, then I never really the song isn't really for me, generally speaking. But it just comes, you know, very because I'm a guitarist before I am anything else, and guitar was the first ever instrument that I picked up. I always revert to starting with that. I always start with writing a riff or a melody or chord progressions or anything guitar wise, and then eventually, well, I mean, before you, I used to just kind of do my own thing.
Oh yeah.
So record everything that I could have access to, like drums and stuff, and then you popped up. Yeah, and but no, I mean, for me, it was always making a start on the. I always find myself wanting a full song before I put down lyrics, because I'll have lyrics, but for me to be able to record it and to really embody that meaning of the really do a good job with putting lyrics onto it is having a full song. That's why I'm always very picky when we write stuff. But generally speaking, quick process would be pick up the guitar, something comes up, or I might record it on my phone. There's hours of just me going into my phone with, you know, I'm pretty sure that's how I did Fade Away. It was just like da 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 on my phone, and then I just go home and try and translate that to what guitar is. But then and then I just come to you, and then you put some bing bang bosh.
That should be my
that should
be our tagline.
Bing bang
Bing
bosh.
bang bosh.
And that's basically the process, really.
I mean, because obviously, like, you know, when you did Eudaimonia, that was like kind of personal. So that kind of goes from there. It always seems to be kind of personal thing. But I think the main thing for me is, as you guys might have noticed, or I might have mentioned before, I'm a massive Oasis fan. And Wonderwall! Right? And basically, Noel Gallagher, in my opinion, some of the melodic guitar he does is something I take a lot of inspiration for, because the reason why is it might not be the most shreddy, the most technical melody out there, but the main thing I like about Noel is the fact that he can go write a melody and you instantly know and remember it, because it's enough notes, enough time between the bar for you to memorize the melody. So I like to kind of, when we come to writing stuff with Al, I like to kind of go to the melody of what sounds catchy rather than what sounds technical, because he can do that when he solos, but no normal musician is going to really understand, no normal person, who doesn't really understand music and how it's played will probably be able to differentiate something that's really technical versus something that sounds good. Because sounding good and technical are different ways of
approaching it. It's always going to that, you know, just because it's making that difference of writing music for a musician and writing music for people who aren't musicians, and you're always in kind of that limbo of you want to write. You might come. It's annoying because you the parts that you write don't always resonate to the people that you want to for them to resonate with. So you might be writing something that's, you've had plenty of occasions where you got your drumming chops, and we think there's a song that we're writing at the minute, and it's quite. We always refer to it as a song for musicians because there's lots of little bits in there that we just think, okay, as a musician, you'll probably think it'll probably go right over your head if you aren't a musician, because you don't sort of see it that specific way.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a good blend of the two, really, in a way of we have a very good approach to tackling a song, because we work very well if I come to you with a riff and then you might have other melodies in mind, or you might have some thoughts that you want to put down in terms of where it's going to go. So I think it's a good, generally speaking, I'll come down with a guitar riff, I'll have an idea of loose idea of where I want it to go next structure wise, but then I think the main bulk of the song we work on that together on most occasions, where there's rarely, other than the first few songs that we had already out or done when you joined, rarely have I ever completely finished a song by myself since being with you, and I think generally speaking that's a really good approach, because
I think
things you don't hear I hear, and things I don't hear you hear.
Well, I think that's the thing, because so there's a principle I like to follow, and this tends to be the thing. So ironically, because Al has an understanding of drumming, because he can play drums,
Just about.
Yeah, he's very rhythmic and melodic guitarist. So when you play, he plays like a sort of like a drummer. If you know any, if you know about obviously Dave Grohl from Nirvana and Foo Fighters, he learned guitar as a drum kit. So he figured out the strings as the drums. So
yeah, it was like his low E string was like the bass drum, and then the higher strings were the snare and stuff. Fucking mental to think about that. So you just look at it like that.
I mean, the thing is, so for example, I find that guitarist rhythm and drum rhythm is a completely different thing. You can sort of he can wave between the bar in a different way, because you don't have to be as direct. Like, for example, my snare drum more staccato.
I drum like a guitarist. I drum what the beat feels, but it's
between it. Yeah. Like, you can more legato feel with a guitar rhythm and more staccato with drums. So when we collab, I usually can think of a rhythm that's a bit more not punctual, like straight to the point and catchy, whereas Al's more thinking about kind of working between the bar and adding the extra flavour. That's what tends to happen. I come back with the main melody, and you add extra flair of harmonies and seventh and whatever chords you can add.
I think it's very interesting, because we're often writing parts for each other's.
Oh yeah.
Because there's often going to be...
Which is good like that.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good because you don't, like I was just saying, you hear parts that I don't, and vice versa, because you approach writing a guitar line as someone that doesn't have guitar as their primary instrument. You might be able to think outside the box. Like, it's so funny to think about it. When you play guitar, when you're playing guitar for such a long time, or I'm sure it's the same with any instrument, you just kind of think, okay, well, I've done all of it, in the sense of I've played this style and I've played that style, and I've you almost think, well, how can I play and record something outside the box? Whereas, somebody with a fresh set of ears, in the sense of you don't hear guitar every day, you don't play guitar every day, you hear drums or you play drums, so you're able to just pick things out that I wouldn't pick, and same with you and I, when we do the sort of look at the rhythms and beats and stuff like that. And this, I don't like to be straight in the beat. It has to always be something funky or something that just messes with you.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, just a very good dynamic that we've had and we continue to have. Which is just really good.
Like to add musical flair to drums, and that's how I like to write. So when I write with Al, tends to be quite a musical drummer in the sense of all my articulation works with the song and the guitars a lot. So when we write, that's why I'm very much like, I need this A and B, and once I've got that, C with the vocals is sort of the extra sort of edge to the melody that gives me the confirmation of, am I clashing with you there? Do I need to strip something back? And it's happened, like, you may have a really good rhythm and then the vocals come in and you're like, well, I have to sacrifice the vocals because the rhythm is the vocals is the key.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult sometimes to be able to come through with a melody or with a song in general, because you start a song out and then as you develop it, sometimes I've written songs in days. I'm pretty sure Fade Away came out somewhat well from it's gone through a lot of changes in terms of things have been added to it over the years that it's been a song before we took it to release. But because it also has seen different people working on it, but it never lost that sort of foundation of it. Yeah, but it's funny how you just sacrifice. You have to just sort of sacrifice certain things sometimes, and the song.
Their ego.
Yeah, but the song goes through so much development, and something again. Fade Away took me a day. I had that riff idea. I sat there. I structured it out, and it's a very simple song structure-wise. Bit of a funny rhythm at times, but it's just nice to see a song develop, but it's also very annoying and gives me a heartache when I pour my soul into something and then when you put it together with everything else, you've just got to cut it because it doesn't work, or because sometimes you just can't make it work.
That kind of sort of coincides really with like the writer's block edge of it, because as I say, you know, we do most of the time, because we sort of have a similar mindset of where we're going, we know what the key foundation of our sound is, right? Sometimes, however, though, you don't get songs that write in a day. There are songs that linger, and what will happen is, especially like in a collaboration band circumstance, right, you will get, for example, me with one of our songs we've done that's in the works. Al, I remember he did the guitars for it, and I was like, I just don't like it. Basically, something's not right, and inevitably, Al sort of, we spent like 2 weeks on it, and it just kept going and going, and I was like, I don't get it, and then eventually Al just went, give me a day, went back, put the guitars to it, extra layers with some of the suggestions I added, and with his core foundation, he was like, listen to this, and then it was like, I've got it. It sounds awesome, right?
What song is that?
No idea.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So, when you sent that to me, it was like, oh wow, oh fucking hell, yeah, this is good. You know, this is really good. Yeah. And then I had the drums instantly. But sometimes you just don't have that. Sometimes it just lingers, and it is annoying. I mean, for you,
it's a process. I mean, sometimes you've got to, you do it, gets you out of it. Sometimes you've got to just get the idea down and then leave it for a day, a week, a month. I'm not going to say a year, but sometimes I've gone back to songs that I found on my phone from a long time ago that just, it's there, and you just work on it. But yeah, it's just running with the flow of how the song feels, and that ties very well with what we were talking about earlier, with, you know, that we wanted to discuss about the, you know, when you get writer's block. You know, sometimes you've just got to understand that it's often very easy to think the more time I spend on something, the better. No, at least it's not been the case in my experience.
Yeah, for me in drums, that's me. Only when I have the idea.
Well, that's what I mean. There's got to be the idea. If you're practicing, yes, absolutely. You know, consistency gives brilliant results. But when you're trying to work things together and melodies and lyrics and just putting everything together and making it work, oftentimes you'll find that, you know, you get to a frustration level where you where you think, okay, this is all my brain has to give right now, and you walk away from it for a week, and then you come back to it, and it just clicks. I've had it at times. I mean, there's been songs in the past where they've been left for genuine months. I mean, there's another song, obviously, because we're working pretty viciously at the moment, which is good. That we've just finished looking at the other day. In fact, there's some extra bits that you need to hear that you haven't heard yet. I love this all secret talk that you don't know what we're talking about. But we're gonna. But there's this song.
Do you know what's in Gromit?
Yeah.
Ooh, fucking hell!
There's this song that we're working on, which has got a bit of more of a mellow, acoustically sound vibe. We sat on that for. I mean, it took about 2 weeks to come up with the main general chord progression, and then about another week for me to be able to add extra things, and then we spent a good 2 or 3 weeks on it for drums, get backwards and forwards to think, okay, no, this doesn't work, and that does. And I think it was in between over a period where I was on holiday. I had 4 days off, and I come back and okay, the guitar fits here, this fits there, the lyrics were done. I added some extra guitar parts, and you said, "Oh, I think it should," because then I came to you and we looked at the drums, and then I went home and you did your own bit with notes that I had. It's just we left it, and then all of a sudden when you come back to it, it just clicks and it just fits. I personally would think that's the best advice for writer's block, because for me it's such a personal thing. It's like a mood. It's like playing guitar. Sometimes people think you've got to practice but every day. Yes, fine, but to me, the heart needs to be ready for it.
I mean, I think, because it's interesting, because I think you definitely write how you feel. Like generally, like because drums is a bit different, because it's a physical instrument. I play how I feel. So if I'm in a bad mood, I tend to not really want to play
death metal.
Yeah, I don't want to play acoustic, anything soft. I need to let it out, right? So I tend to try and just play. But there'll be some days where you're just sort of in a middle ground, which I have basically, for example, for me to set into my head, especially with our music, what I do is to get rid of writer's block, or to get me in the zone as I play the music we've already written. Because obviously, as you would imagine, I've written it with Al. I love it. Right?
And it's great practice.
Yeah. Play, practice, get the song in my head. And then what happens is I'm in the mindset of the music I want to create and my band, right? So I know what I need to do to make my music work, because I've listened to what we have done. It's sort of like a timeline. It's like, if this is the 4 songs that we've done now, chronologically, it needs to follow some sort of standard so that it doesn't go from good similar tunes, so then something completely drops and is different. It's very personal as well. That's the whole point of it. It has a very personal. We both have a very personal approach as to how we come up with melodies and songs and beats and things. Because I'll go back to saying it's amazing. It's great if you're one of those that can sit there and practice for 3 hours a day every single day incessantly. But to me, I've got such a personal attachment to music and to the guitar and to the way that I write my music. Again, if I wake up in a bad mood, I might just not be able. I've had moments where I've touched the guitar every single day for a month consistently for hours, practicing, recording, and I get to the end of the month and I think, oh, I'm a load of crap. I sound like crap. I feel like crap. And there's been times, and I have actually done this for reasons, months without even looking or thinking about my guitar, and I pick it up and it's just wow. It's just a feeling. I think because I think the way for us to put this, just for us, I think that's how it works. It's a collaborative angle. It's how we work together to make sure that everything flows correctly.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing for me, the main advice I'll give anyone who's listening to anything, is it's sort of, I think, you need to know what direction you're going with and have that set in your mind, because I think if you don't know what song you're writing, you don't know where you're going, and that's rhythmically, that's melodically. If you say I'm writing a rock song, that's not going to help you. right, what does that mean? Does that mean Led Zeppelin? Does that mean Oasis? Does that mean, you know, Guns N' Roses, Foo Fighters, right? You know, you're stuck.
We almost created a new band there,
Yeah.
Gun Foos.
Gun Foos.
Gun Foos.
Yeah. And then I think if you actually go, I want to write a rock song that's personal to my day throughout this year, it's like, well, there you go then.
And
then you can come back to it whenever you want.
And that's ironically, you know, we haven't planned of what we've discussed in that sense, but we got to this, and I'm now thinking, because it's so personal and the way that we're thinking of it, you saying about, oh, you write for how you feel today, ironically our slogan, if you so want to call it, is writing the sound. As a band, our sort of motive is writing the soundtrack to your life, and it's just like, okay, I wake up, I feel like shit, cool, that's the song that's going to come out today. If in a week's time I'm happy, Eudaimonia will come out. Eudaimonia means happy, for all those of you out there that don't know. So there you go. But I think that's a really interesting conversation.
Just thought, you know, we sort of thought this one would give you sort of a bit of a rundown of where we're at mentally and how we write and what the process will be. But I think, you know, it will always constantly evolve. But I think if you have the same format and the same structure, that is the thing that helps you get the base of a song. Then the rest of it can evolve, as long as you know what you keep and what is your sound. You need to stick to yourself. Don't fall in line.
And speaking of songs, and oh god, you could be, it's like a commercial. Speaking of, Fall in Line has been, I think it's going to be 2 weeks of Fall in Line in a couple of days.
I know.
Which is pretty mental.
And the music video is out as well.
The video is also out, almost a week.
So happy. Thank you, Sam and Kat and Matt, for all your help. We really appreciate it. You know who you are.
Yeah, and we'll let you know who they are.
We'll put it in the description.
On the caption, we'll put it in the descriptions. But yeah, I thought this was a really cool aspect, really cool conversation to have. I think, you know, I'm so glad that we have an unscripted podcast that, you know, we talk about. We have a 10-minute sit down before we press record, and we think, what should we talk about today? And we go, we should talk about that. But I'm glad that the only limit that we give ourselves is a time limit, because otherwise it could be 5 hours.
You're already asleep. I mean,
exactly. I mean, I was falling asleep when you were talking at points.
We want them to know this is how most bands are authentically, right? Everything you see on shows don't tend to be real, and this is. So you'll follow us in the process through this, and then you'll see how it gradually progresses. Maybe next one we do Upside Down.
Why not? Let's do it. That's a challenge for next time.
All right then.
Upside Down.
Deal.
Let's do it. You've got to do it all the time. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us again. Another episode of Unscripted Roots and Wings. Roots and Wings Unscripted. And we'll see you on the next episode. Get them guns away, boy.
Go on.